Thanks for coming back and watching the fifth video of my Brave New World 2018 series on the fifth painting, John, Back on the Reservation, The Greeting of the Savage. The painting series was sold to Fred Whitehead, a repeat collector, through the Jones Gallery of Kansas City, Missouri in 2018. I am Ian Young, the humble painter. This painting takes place in the southwest corner of the United States, in western New Mexico to be exact. I actually took a detour through the El Malpais National Monument at the same time I was working on this very painting, on my way to bring my previous series towards the Los Angeles greater area for shows at the Peekaboo Gallery and Gallery 30 South in Pasadena. It's a beautiful area. I've never been to New Mexico, and I can now honestly say it's one of my top 5 favorite states to visit. El Malpais in the spring of 2018 had lots of woods, strange petrified lava flows, badlands, and mysterious caves and colorful caverns. Lots and lots of wild animals live there too. Most of the iconic animals of the continent of North America can be found here: black bears, mountain lions, coyotes, bighorn sheep, and rattlesnakes. About the only animals not to be found here are ones conditioned to extreme cold, like polar bears or grizzlies, or tropical climates, like alligators. I love hiking and national parks, and a lot of times actually I complain when I go to one that the crowds are huge and there's too many people and too many lines. But this national monument, El Malpais, is one I can honestly say could have used a few more people. The fun-fear ratio that comes with hiking out on your own by yourself was a little more on the fear side than I would have preferred, especially considering I had no signal whatsoever when I was out there. I even had a top-of-the-line iPhone with an unlimited Verizon plan at the time, and I had absolutely nothing, not even a bar when I was in this general area. As I explained in the first video, I took the artistic merit of putting saguaro cacti and Joshua trees in the first piece, which I also did in this piece, even though you don't really see them until you get into Arizona. In the novel, it's the year 2540 AD. A Third World War ravaged the environment around 2060 AD, according to Huxley. So who's to say this area won't have these iconic plants at this time? I also like to think the series will be recognized on a global scale, and unless you're a botanist or you're very familiar with the state of New Mexico, you wouldn't be the wiser, and they're so very visually stimulating and iconic to the Southwest. I couldn't resist putting them in there. I mentioned earlier the novel has 2 protagonists who wind up trying to overthrow world controller Mustafa Mond. In the last painting I depicted Bernard Marx, who is more of the anti-hero type, or a problem child, born different, bred into privilege, given every opportunity to succeed, but intentionally choosing to snub his nose at every chance to turn it around. Bernard is the guy you love to hate or hate to love. John, on the other hand, is the traditional hero, the noble, the true innocent, born into poverty and also different, but seeking justice in the world. He doesn't question civilization's concept of morality because he's out of place, like Bernard does. He questions civilization's moralities because they are different from Shakespeare's, or the Native American traditions, or the Zuni of the region. It's different from the Judeo-Christian Bible and all the other pre-World War III dogmas, which are all John knows. John grew up with only books instead of the art and history scrubbed 26th century internet that everyone in civilization is exposed to. Bernard was outcast in London for his size and behavior and, preferential treatment. But John was outcast in New Mexico by the natives for his white skin tone, his promiscuous single mother, and his lack of family origin. Bernard is essentially the anti-hero of the novel. John ultimately becomes the tragic hero. This painting shows the two of them meeting. Here's the grown-up John standing next to his mother Linda. He was in her womb in painting number 1, and they're waving down to Bernard and a girl he took to the reservation, Lenina. As you can see, this is definitely the American desert, with the iconic plants as well as the several species of animals. The wolf, the falcon, the bighorn sheep, the owl. I put some Zuni masks up here to symbolize the Zuni reservation, which is actually west of El Malpais, about 30 or 40 minutes, give or take, which I also drove through. Though I did not take any pictures out of respect, there are signs everywhere on the reservation that say Zuni land, do not photograph, or Zuni rituals taking place, do not photograph, and more Zuni land, do not photograph signs you see as you drive pretty much anywhere there. This is an abandoned ship here, as Bernard and Lenina have to walk to the reservation. They have to land someplace else and walk. Because the reservation is surrounded by a giant electric fence, which I depicted very subtly here. This other ship up here represents the 4 of them leaving New Mexico and flying back to civilization in London. I have some petroglyph and cave art symbolism up here in the upper right of the painting. I have a telephone booth with a skeleton inside of it to kind of symbolize the contact between the living or dead, or the known and the unknown, or the natural and the supernatural, whatever metaphor you want to use there, whatever metaphor you like. This ghost in the corner is somewhat important. It represents the ghost of young John the Savage during a flashback that takes place both in the novel and the movie, where he actually stabs one of Linda's Native American boyfriends or flings after he gives her a bunch of mezcal and gets her drunk and takes advantage of her physically and sexually. John retaliates by taking a knife and basically stabbing the Indian. Not a very pleasant part of the book, but it kind of symbolizes the abuse that the young John the Savage went to, or the problems he faced as a kid without a father out on the reservation and being born different on top of it all. He's holding a book with Shakespeare, a young bard symbol on the cover with, the traditional Shakespeare with the beard. He loves Shakespeare. He's John the Savage's favorite author. He loves to read and loves books in general, but Shakespeare is definitely his number 1. Here in the middle of this piece is a very, very small, in these figures here, is a ritual dance that the Zuni and other Native American cultures participate in. Basically, when a boy becomes a man, or is going to become a man, he needs to walk around in a circle while the others chant and play instruments and masks. And he has to walk around a large pit of snakes while they are chanting, and the elder cracks a whip on him. Kind of a bizarre ritual, but it actually comes back to play later on in the novel, so I felt it was important to include it. These are some kivas here. If you're familiar with Native American culture, a kiva is kind of an underground layer where they would sleep or sometimes hide supplies or conduct rituals in. Lots of various reasons for kivas. Put a bunch of trailer homes here amidst the pueblos and traditional Southwest symbolism to kind of represent how it has been infiltrated by the modern culture to a certain extent, even 500 years into the future, it's going to be very different. It's going to be more populated. There will be more remnants of modern times and trash and whatnot strewn about. That's about all I have to say on this fifth painting. Thank you so much for watching video number 5. Again, the title of this one was John, Back on the Reservation, The Greeting of the Savage. This is actually my favorite of the first half of the Brave New World paintings, the first 6 paintings. It's definitely one of the happiest ones in the whole series, and probably the last happy or positive one from here on out, as the novel gets very strange and takes tragic turn after tragic turn going forward, just to forewarn you. But thank you again for watching video number 5. This will be video number 6 on painting number 6. This is going to be Scandal, the Illegitimate Child, and the subsequent deportation of Thomas Graham Bell. Thank you so much for watching.